Hi, and welcome to Chamber Chat via Zoom. I'm Danielle McFadden, President of the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce. I am so excited to welcome one of our newest members, SAK Environmental. I have Stephen Sakakeeny here. He's the principal at SAK Environmental. How are you doing, Stephen?
Good, Danielle. How are you today?
Great. It's so nice to finally see your face. We've emailed back and forth several times, so great to see you.
Same here.
And one day it will be in person, which will be even better.
For sure. Sooner than we think.
I hope you're right. I will hold you to that. So tell me all about SAK Environmental and what you do.
Well, SAK Environmental is an environmental engineering and consulting firm that provides technical and project management services to support the life cycle of real estate and facilities. And what's the life cycle? It's the acquisition of buildings or property, the construction, securing environmental operating permits so the plant can run. And if there's a move or shutdown, it's decommissioning. So our clients include commercial and industrial companies, federal, state, and local governments, construction companies, lending institutions, and private investors. We're privately owned. We're based in North Andover, Mass. We service all of Southern New England and have been in business for almost 18 years.
That is so impressive. It sounds like there's not somebody that you cannot help, which is great. You can help
We
everybody.
we try. We try.
So to kind of do a little bit of a deeper dive into that, can you share some examples of some of your recent work?
Yeah, actually, I think the best example, it may not be what we're currently working on, but it gives a good idea of the details of things we do. So a few years back, we helped a Florida-based defense contractor establish a facility in Tewksbury. They wanted to lease about a 250,000 square foot building for electronic manufacturing. We performed environmental testing of the land to determine current conditions before they took control of the property. We secured their environmental operating permits for, say, air emissions, wastewater discharges, stormwater discharges, storage tanks, chemical storage. During their 10 years of operation, we helped maintain those permits, performed compliance audits, and cleaned up oil or chemical spills that may have happened. Unfortunately, at the end of 10 years, they went through some corporate restructuring and the plant was scheduled to close, and we helped them there too. So we terminated those permits with regulators and we decommissioned and decontaminated the building. And it wasn't a lot of contamination, it's that the landlord wanted to be sure that the property, the building they were getting back was suitable for unrestricted reuse, which could be anything from another manufacturing tenant to a daycare. So that example is a wide range of services for a complex manufacturing facility from startup to shut down. In other words, the complete life cycle of that plant. But we have other clients that only need specific services depending on where they are in that life cycle for themselves. So we do a lot of work in commercial real estate where we're just testing the soil, groundwater, indoor air to make sure the property value is accurate for banks, investors, or buyers. We inspect buildings for asbestos and lead to ready them for renovation and demolition. And we monitor recyclable items and trash that can be diverted for reuse. As far as current projects, we just started a drinking water quality monitoring program for a water supplier. And we're wrapping up a solid waste slash recycling study to improve a company's recycling rate. So those are a few examples of what we do.
Very impressive. And I'm sure people appreciate once they find a company that they know, like, trust, that does good work, that you can be with them every step of the way throughout their whole life cycle. That's great.
And
What are
that's,
some of, oh,
I'm sorry, that's what we try to do is be there every step of the way through that cycle.
what are some of the bigger environmental challenges facing your clients?
Well, that's a great question. So I see two primary challenges. One is the cost to manage trash and the ability to recycle. That's one challenge. The other is an emerging contaminant known as PFAS. For the first one, The cost to get rid of trash or solid waste, as we call it, is getting prohibitive. It's very expensive, and the ability to recycle not just paper and plastics, but say wood, and certain other plastics or styrofoam is a real challenge. And the reason why everything's been going up for cost is that the disposal capacity in Massachusetts, anyway, is running out quickly. So in Massachusetts, they're so tight for space, they end up exporting about 30% of the trash to out of state as far as Ohio and Virginia. On the recycling side, the recycling markets have to redevelop ever since China stopped accepting our recyclables. So it's caused a major shift in the markets to readjust themselves, and that's resulted in higher cost. In just recently, Mass Department of Environmental Protection released its solid waste master plan for the next 10 years, and they're targeting a 30% increase in recycling by 2030 and a 90% increase in recycling by 2050. That's for everyone, from a household, municipalities, to commercial and government. Those are goals. So what's happening as a challenge is regulators have always put the pressure on solid waste facilities to report when they get too many recyclables in their trash. But now they're starting to push that upstream to waste haulers and now generators. Generators meaning municipalities, households, commercial, industrial. So what's happening is between that pressure and the rising costs, a lot of clients are asking for our help to take a hard look at their solid waste stream and look for more cost-effective solutions. As far as the PFAS, that is a group of organic chemicals, which is called an emerging contaminant, because until recently, say the past 3 to 5 years, it's been found pervasive in the environment. And it's a problem because it was found to be used in hundreds of everyday products from to resist sticking, staining, and moisture. So, for example, these compounds were in Teflon-coated cookware. They're in packaging, including food packaging, firefighting foam, fabric coatings to resist staining and moisture. Those are some examples. The compounds are toxic, they're persistent in the environment, and they're widespread. So EPA and state agencies, they recently, within the past, say 12 or 24 months, have rushed to establish very low health standards in the parts per trillion, which is very low. And they're starting to add testing requirements to permit holders for drinking water wells, toxic use reporting, stormwater management. So all these permit structures that are out there, now they're asking the permit holder to test for this material. The challenge is how do these companies separate themselves from being just subject to the pervasive presence of these PFAS compounds to be separated from being an actual contributor? And that's what makes everyone a little bit nervous. So this emerging contaminant PFAS and solid waste, those are really the two, what I see as the two major challenges in the near future.
That is fascinating, and I appreciate you taking that on. I'm big into the environment, so anytime I hear those stats that they want to increase recycling by that much by 2030, that's great.
They're lofty goals, but it's challenging. There's a lot of complexity behind it to make that happen.
And that's why people hire you, so you can you can take care of those complexities. What
We
are
think
the
so.
common misconceptions that clients have when dealing with an environmental issue?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we think still the biggest misconception is that environmental challenges, they break deals, or they stop projects. And they really don't. If you we try to have clients not to overreact to some of the requirements that may be in the regulations or what they have to do, and to take we try to slim down what the regulations really mean and what real cost is involved. And 99 times out of 100, what was thought to be a deal breaker actually isn't. So if you look at real estate, for example, a lot of property owners, buyers or sellers think that maybe some property pollution's a deal breaker. And fortunately, in the Northeast and New England, that's really not the case. And that's because the value of real estate in New England is so strong, it makes it economically possible to resolve environmental conditions for the property's next best use. The, the other misconception I'd like to point out is that um, a lot of customers think that environmental consulting firms are the same, and that's not true either. So for environmental solutions, it requires responsiveness, an understanding of clients' needs, and creativity. And at SAK, we understand that environmental needs move at the speed of business, whether it's an around-the-clock manufacturing operation, a real estate transaction, some type of regulatory enforcement action that they may be experiencing. So we're responsive. We have to be. And as part of that, we actually have a 24-hour hotline to service primarily our industrial clients that have round-the-clock operations. Understanding a client's big picture need allows us to deliver a more cost-effective strategy to meet their short-term goals and manage their long-term risk. As an example, designing an emissions permit application that accommodates for future business growth so they don't have to keep going back to the regulator to tweak their permit. We've built in, what is your long-term plan for growth? People don't usually expect creativity in environmental solutions, but there is creativity with the right firm. And here, what we try to do is what we think creative solutions. It comes from knowing the regulations thoroughly, keeping up with industry innovations, and maintaining a positive relationship with regulators. And that recipe has served us well and our customers well over the past almost 20 years.
I love that creativity, a 24/7 hotline, things that I never, think of or hear of. So keep up the good work. Speaking of work, how much work does SAK do in the greater Lowell area?
We do a lot of work, and in the greater Lowell and the surrounding towns. And currently we have about 5 active projects in greater Lowell. And that's what prompted us to ask ourselves, why are we not part of the chamber? We should be. We have definitely enough presence there. And joining the chamber was really a logical step to add to that relationship to the greater Lowell area. And we're thrilled that we joined.
I'm thrilled that you joined too. And I have to say, I love your website. I love the use of color, but also the black and white. And you already have our logo on there. You are like a superstar gold member.
I'll have to thank our business manager for that.
So if folks want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do so?
Well, there's a few ways. They can always visit our website at www.sakenvironmental.com. They can always call our office at 978-688-7804. My extension is extension 112. And there's a general, on the website, there's a general, you can message us through the website. And we also have a general mailbox called info at ssakakeeny.com.
Well, this has been an absolute pleasure. It's so nice to finally meet you. I can't wait to meet you in person. And I hope you have a great holiday, and we'll see you in 2021.
Thank you so much. It was nice speaking with you.
You as well. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.